I got to tell you folks, I am really impressed with this tent. I've made a lot of purchases over the last few years, different tools, vehicles, stuff. And for the most part, I get disappointed with everything. The price is up, the quality is down. I've never owned a Kodiak tent before. Looked at these online many times, thought about buying them, and I had rewards money, and I had enough to buy the tent. So I go, well, basically I'm getting the tent for free. So, and I've talked about how I use my credit cards, I pay my bills, I never pay any interest, I pay the balance every month, and I get rewards dollars. And this time I bought this $600 tent with them, and I think I had to come up with a few bucks for the shipping. But I figured, what have I got to lose? So I got the tent. It's been set up in these woods now over 2 months, I think. It has seen countless rainstorms, some torrential downpours. It's raining right now a little bit. It was raining, it's been raining for the last few days, and there's more coming. But you go inside and my bedding isn't damp or musty or anything. It's very comfy and cozy inside. I'm really impressed with it. This is the Kodiak canvas. I'll put a link in the description below of this model, the one that I bought. I'm thinking about putting a stove jack in it. That way I can have a little tent stove in it, and that would be the real kicker. And maybe I'd use it right straight through the winter time. I don't know if I'll have time to put that in, but it's awesome. Really cool out here today. It's misting, just a light rain coming down. The fog is dissipating actually a little bit. It was really foggy a minute ago. I should have got the camera out. Just a light rain coming down. The woods are silent and foggy. Really cool. Nice place to be today. Well, hey, my friends. There's a lot of things that I should be doing today. I have a lot of things on my to-do list that need to be checked off as done. But I love being in the woods in the rain and in the fog and the environment that I have here today. So I am in the woods today, here at my little bush camp. We've been dealing with a lot, and we are burning out on some things. So I needed a day in church, and you have heard me call this my church, because this is my church. I don't have to put money in the plate, say a certain prayer, do things a certain way. I have the mindset and worship in my own way, much like the Native Americans. Okay? So I am in my church today, and it's doing me a world of good. I love it out here. And if it starts raining any harder than it is, then I'll be sitting in my little tarp shelter over there, because that's a pretty freaking cool place to be. So you often hear me talk about my next chapter of life. I'm always reevaluating things and making changes. And a couple years ago, Lori and I said, as we're approaching a new year, let's not work so hard on stuff this year and just have fun. But then we came here and we bought more property, and it's a beautiful piece of land where we are building that garage and stuff, and talk about building a new homestead and all that jazz. And it's all great ideas. We would love to have a homestead on that side of the mountain, looking at this mountain. But there's a lot of other things that we want to do. And like I said, I'm turning 60 in a few weeks, and that's a milestone for me. a milestone, the big 6-0. Never thought that I'd see the day. And I might not. Who knows? It's a few weeks away. Anything could happen. So, anyway, Lori and I have both been talking about a lot of things, doing reevaluation, and we want our next chapter to be different than our last. So, you've heard us talk before about selling the New York cabin. You've heard us talk about selling our homestead here on the mountain and building a new place. And we have a lot of options. We're not stuck on any one-way train where we, oh my God, we got to sell this. We don't have to sell anything. So, actually, we are going to have a realtor come out and look at the property where we were going to build the new homestead, because we might not build a new homestead. We don't have any plans of selling that property right now, but we would like to see what our options are. Sometimes we talk about moving back to New York, because the New Hampshire that I left in 2005 is not the New Hampshire I came home to in 2017. This whole live free or die thing, it's more like live free or die trying. Like, for example, we live up on a Class 6 road, okay? You used to be able to just buy a piece of property, build a hunting camp for yourself. Well, you cannot build anything on a Class 6 road, at least in this town. You cannot build on a Class 6 road. Now they passed a law where you can't have a camper on your property and use it. So if you have property on a Class 6 road, you can't put a camper on it and camp on it unless you camp with a tent, but you can't build a tent platform. You got to sleep on the ground. Like, I just raked up leaves from my tent over here because they would not let me build a platform out here. I didn't try, but I know that I can't because I'm on a Class 6 road. So if you have property on a Class 6 road, all you can do is pay taxes on it. Live free or die trying. The only really, really good thing about New Hampshire is the gun laws, where there's almost none. That's pretty cool. But the restrictions for living have gone down the pooper. Live free or die trying. That's what they need to change the motto to. So when I was living up there in New York State, up there on the Canada border, I, at the time, thought that, wow, I had a lot more freedom in New Hampshire. Not anymore. So anyway, in short, we are reevaluating things and probably going to make some radical changes. But anybody who has known me throughout my life knows that I will do an about face and turn on a dime, make huge changes. Because you only live once, man, and changes are good. I know a lot of people that do the same freaking thing, right from graduation all the way to retirement and beyond. It might work for them. Some people, they think it works for them. It's just because they're brainwashed into that 9-to-5 mentality. They've been doing it since first grade, and they can't jump the ship. I have a family member that is like that, in mid-70s and still going to work, and will never retire until forced retirement. And then I see over and over and over that people, that when they're forced into retirement, they have the rest of their life miserable because that transition is too difficult, going from the 9-to-5 all your life to all of a sudden all of this free time, and they live in misery. And I see it over and over. But anyway, I don't have to worry about that, because I always say life is what you make of it, and it is. So we're going to make the best of it. And with that is going to be some changes. So follow the journey, folks, because I think there's going to be some big changes in the future. A new chapter of life. Yes, sir. we just got back from working at the property, and right after breakfast we put this big pork butt in the kitchen queen and just had a piddly fire going, had it dampened way down. We just got back, it's 3 p.m. Smelled really, really good when we came in the door. I just took it out of the oven. Oh my word. This has been cooking at about, well, I don't know what the oven got to because we weren't here, but it was around 150 degrees this morning when we left. And it was around 170 or so when we got back. So, who knows? But look at this. Now, that thing is just absolutely beautiful. Look at that thing. Oh my word. It's just, oh, she's going to go for it.
Look at that. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. Oh, talk about tender. Oh!
Wow.
It's as soft as mashed potato.
Oh, careful there.
I almost lost it.
Told you to been on that.
Look at that. Oh my word.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Unbelievable.
What a beautiful butt you have, Papa.
Ah, beautiful butt. Are you calling me pork butt? So it's been some time since I've done a Q&A, but the questions never stop coming. Most of the time I just answer the questions as I'm going through the comments, but I do get a lot of repeat questions, and instead of repeating myself all the time, I decided that I would take a little time right now and answer a few. Get caught up. All of the building questions I'm going to answer all in one video. I will do another video where I answer building questions. That way, if you don't have any interest in building anything, you don't have to watch that video. And if you do, you can find all the answers in one spot. So let's get started here. So what animal passed by your tent? I wish you would just tell us. I don't have to tell you because I showed you. But if you jump ship before the end of the video, you missed it. So go back and watch the end of that video if you want to see what was lurking outside the walls of my tent. Do I still sell my art? Do I have any originals for sale? Yes, I haven't spoken about my art in quite some time. I do still sell it. I probably will show some of it again sometime soon. I've had folks asking about what originals I have for sale. I will show those and I will put those up for sale. I need to recoup some money because this well cost me a fortune, and unfortunately the water sucks. I get this question all the time. How do you get the birds to land in your hand like that? You've seen on many occasions where I have birds landing in my hand and I'm talking to the camera and they're still in my hand. I don't have any explanation for it. I don't have food in my hand. It's just that way, but it's not that way all the time. It kind of comes in waves. The last time that I had a bird land on me, Lori and I were sitting on the front porch. We have our evening sit down during the good weather here on the front porch. We're sitting there drinking wine. A little bird comes in, lands right on my knee. We're sitting there drinking wine. I talked to the little bird. It hung out for a bit and flew off. Just one of those things, folks. You can't put a price on it. So how's the hunting going? Well, it's not. I've been out 3, maybe 4 times, and I see moose all the time, which that's how it is here in my early season on my own land where I hunt. It's a moose corridor. It's not unusual for me to see 20 different bull moose in one season. And I can tell they're different bull moose not only by their antler configuration but by the bell. And their antlers may change slightly from year to year, but their bell does not. Okay, so there's a lot of moose, and when they're in the rut, they're kicking deer around. But as their rut winds down and I'm starting to see more than one bull moose together, then the deer start filtering in. And then it turns into the whitetail rut, and then there's more action. So right now, I'm taking all of my time to wrap up all of the loose ends with the building project. As you know, we just had a well drilled, so then there was a big scramble to get that plumbed into the building, and that created another big scramble to get heat in the building. And it's been a lot of work and a lot of money, and the water is super high iron, and it sucks. And it's been a real kick in the nuts. And it's making me reevaluate things. And like I said many times, there is a certain charm to living the way that we do, off-grid, no running water, all of that stuff, inching our way into having more conveniences on the other property. And it's been a real eye-opener. And we are actually thinking about doing other things. But time will tell, and we'll see how that story unfolds. So stay tuned. Will you be using bubble foil in that project?
Oh, it looks like you won the lottery with all that bubble foil.
Yeah! Get it done. Woohoo! Would you expect any less of me? Come on. Do you ever think about writing a book or publishing your journals? I get that all the time. All right, I'm going to take a moment to explain a few things about that. Well, yes, I have thought about writing a book, writing my memoir, sharing my life story for decades. There's quite a story behind it. My life has been quite a trip. But in reality, I doubt that I will ever find the time to sit indoors long enough to do that, to write it all down. I do share my journals on my Patreon page. I do 1 or 2 journal readings a month. Lori does some blog entries, shares some photos. Sometimes we'll post a little video clip or 2. But not much more than that. Some months are very lean over there. They are here as well. I post when I have the time to do so and enough content that I feel is worth sharing. I don't just pump out whatever just to get the views. I don't have any interest in that. Okay? But since I mentioned Patreon and journal readings, I want to take a moment to explain something and clarify this, okay? I don't want people going over and joining up as a patron with the expectations that they're going to find just as much, if not more, content than I post here on YouTube. I don't want you to do that because you will be disappointed, and I don't want my subscribers disappointed. Okay? We created that Patreon page because I was getting a lot of people asking why I didn't have a donations button. Some people would ask, some people said that I should have a donations button. I even got scolded numerous times that I didn't have a donations button because they want to buy me a coffee or a beer or whatever. Okay? So instead of having a donations button, we decided to create the Patreon page. That way, for those that want to support the content that they watch here, you got a little extra perk. Whatever content they got on Patreon was just a little bonus for their pledge. Okay? It's not another platform like a pay-per-view type of platform where you go and for your $1.50 a month is what we charge now. For your or you pledge whatever you want. $1.50 a month. It's not pay-per-view. So it's just a bonus. People go there to support the content here. And like I said, some months it's lean here and lean there. But we are busy people. We live a very busy homesteading life. And we don't sit indoors talking about homesteading. We rather live it and share when we can. So I wanted to clarify that because I do not want people getting the idea that they're just going to go over to Patreon and have tons of content where I read my whole life story. You're going to get it dribs and drabs as I have time to share it. It's the same thing here. Okay, so quite often you'll see me share some of the moose footage that I get on my trail cam. Well, here's another one. This young bull decided to hang out in front of my camera and burn up my whole SD card. Yeah. Then he decides to camp out in front of it. Oh man, just watching that made my hip hurt. All settled in at 13:29 with no hurry for departure. Still napping at 14:30, and there's no sense in rushing into things. Another hour into it, and still on hold at 15:29. Ticking away the moments that make up a dull day. Oh my goodness. Finally up on his feet an hour later. A 3-hour nap. Okay, move along now. Thank you, Bull Tinkle.
Frankie and the boss out walking in the woods, living life happy and free. Tracks in the snow everywhere they go, there's a pokey way up in that tree. A beaver built a pond where they have some fun, taking life a day at a time. Best friends until the end. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss. Frankie and the boss.